Good morning. Welcome, everybody listening to the Soulful Illumination show. I am so glad to have you here. I am your Enlightened Enchantress, Nicole Borghi. And if I could get this screen to cooperate with me, we'd be much better. But I am so glad that you are here, folks. Welcome, everybody listening from around the world, from the great cosmos. And I've got a few of Nicole's ringing in my ears. Hey guys, it's a frequency change and everything is just kind of out of whack and it's going back and forth. It's just saying, hey, are you aware of your space? Are you aware of the moments? I am so glad you're here. So welcome, 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 everybody listening from around the world and the unknown universe. You know what? This is a show about connecting to the collective consciousness. And don't we need that through our heart space awakening, allowing those energetic vibrational frequencies to send you into spiritual ascension. We all need a bit of uplift, and that's what you're here for today. We are coming at you from an unknown bunker near Area 51 in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I am your host, the Lady of Laughter and Light, Nicole Borghi. You know what? I am the sabotage smasher. I'm here to help you crush through those emotions and those feelings that have kind of been haunting you. Let's get rid of that. Let's expand. This energy is up. The veil is thin. It is open. The time is now. So go ahead and go to my website, illuminatevegas.com. You can book a discovery call today with me and we can talk, because you know what? Right now, that call is free because I know that you need it. I know that you're ready for that heart awakening. That's why you're watching this show. So you can get those tools to become the creator of your life, right? I want to thank many of those who are watching, my friends, my family, everybody else that I haven't met yet, but we have probably met, and maybe another lifetime we will meet today here on this show. This is a place for you to be enlightened. It's a place for you to have some laughs and find some love. Because when you laugh, your frequency upgrades, right? It goes through the ceiling. Laughter is very healing. Let's get some of this housekeeping out of the way and get all this up for you so we can get to the show. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Cellcore and Cellcore Biosciences. This is biomolecular oxygen, and this is what we need right now. We're not all getting the oxygen we need for one reason or another, but we need this, right? We need to breathe. We need to take a moment, all of you, just take a moment and breathe that air that is free to us to grow, to shine, to love. And without that breath of life, we get into our funks, right? We get that. We lose our focus. We don't have clarity. It's hard to awaken our heart space. So this will help you. This biomolecular oxygen will help you boost that. Our next sponsor today is doTERRA. And right here, what I have is green Mandarin. And you know what? This is awesome because it is a Mandarin. It is a little bit of green. And green is what? Green is for the heart space. And Mandarin, being an orange, helps us find our joy. So it's two things, right? So if you're just looking at the colors of your chakra, green for your heart, boom, that's easy. You're just putting that in a cup of water. Or are you looking at the orange for the Mandarin? And that is coming into what? Our root, our solar, our sacral, and that just helps us lift up who we are, find our individuality. And so it's kind of a mix of the two of that energy right now, and that is doTERRA's green Mandarin. You can find that on my links and get some more information. Contact me. You can send me a message through illuminatingvegas@gmail.com or go to my website, illuminatevegas.com, and ask me some questions, because these next few weeks, I'll be rolling out how to uplift our mental health, how to open our heart, how to find some peace, some balance, and get some higher ascended frequencies. Because whether you like it or not, the energy has changed. Okay, That's not a truth bomb because you guys know that. It's there. Boom. You know we're all here. We've all been put into this place, however you want to think or feel or describe that of your own. But some of us feel that we've been pushed into that. If you've been studying for a little while, which I have, and so many other wonderful people have, and our guest today has, and our guest Patricia Joe will talk about that a little bit more. And on Oneness Talk Radio, you're familiar with what Shri and Kira talk about, of having prepared for this moment to raise your level, to level up, to move out of your head space and move more into your heart space. This change was coming, and many of us have prepared for it. Some of us have not. So if you miss the boat, here's the boat again. It's knocking at your door. It's saying, hey, hello, here we are. What can you do to move forward? You can take a breath, right? Just take your hand to your heart. Take a breath. Just breathe in, take a moment. You can do some yoga. You can run in circles. You need to do something to change your vibration. In order to do that, it just takes a moment. You can pause and pray and say, you know what? I'm going to let some light into my heart space. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm open. Have you heard that? Many of us have been talking about that for a while, but it's okay. We are here to help guide you to that point. If you haven't caught that yet, okay. But however, if you're like the rest of us and you're ready to just push through it and say, hey, you know what? I need a little kick in the hind end to get this together. I need a little push to say, hey, you know what? I'm here. Now what do I do? Don't be in the fear. Move forward. And that's what mentors do. That's what teachers do. That's what coaches do, life coaches. I'm a soulful coach. That's what this is about. I'm going to be putting out things about increasing your mental health, opening your heart space, smashing your sabotage, conquering the imposter. The imposter is that fraud feeling that we get when we go to start a business. Maybe you want to be a speaker. Maybe you want to move into being a teacher or a soulful teacher. And you've been studying for years, but you feel that you need that one more certificate. No, you don't. You need the practical experience. You need to do it. And that's what I'm here to help you with. And you'll see those. You'll see some lives. There'll be some summits coming up. And that is the blessing that I'll be able to give to you to help you push through this and to find who you are, what your why is, the truth of you, and move forward to become and blossom into that beautiful being that you are meant to be here. A few notes right now. I am going to be featured in the Arise Summit. It is Breakthrough and Thrive Summit. That is on the 11th of this month. So that'll be tomorrow. More information will be down on the links. It'll be on my Facebook page, Nicole Borghi. Look up Illuminate Vegas. That information will be there. What is that about? It is about people who have gone through some abuse, mental, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. We know that there's a lot of sexual trafficking that more and more people have been talking about, or sexual abuse that has come up, and the truth of that has become us now. We have been blessed to understand that that's there. But how do people, anybody, how do we get through that? That is a part of our mental state. And what I'm going to be speaking of, and what I always work on, is it does work with our mental state. Where are we at? Are we in a state of depression, fear, or anger? We need to move from that victim to survivor mode and back up to mentor. We need to become creator. We need to move through that cycle in order to rise up and have success, break through. But you need to break through your heart space. You need to find forgiveness. And that's what I'm here for. You'll see that tomorrow on the 11th. Also in January, there will be the Sabotage Summit. You'll get more of that. I'm working on the website now. Had a bit of a glitch, but that will be up hopefully this week. And anything else. Oh, you can watch this show or listen, the podcast. You could download it, iTunes, and Spotify, Anchor Podcast. It is in Google Play, or now it's YouTube Music. That podcast is there, so you can listen to this show in the next 24 to 48 hours. You'll find all some Soulful Illumination on there. Let's talk about vibrational frequency. So the energy forecast of today, what does that say? The energy forecast that comes up today is all about energy shifting and change. It is here. We're in that new dimensional portal, whatever you want to talk about, however you look at it, it's changed. It's going to be here to stay. Whether you want to call it, the new life, the new times, we're in a new dimension. We have changed and we have lifted. The energy is only bad when you look at that point that you're like, I'm out of fear. When you're looking at it out of fear, are you looking at it at ascension? How could we possibly connect around the world without Zoom, without Facebook, without Google? Yeah, it's a little overbearing at first, but when you look and utilize it for the good that it has. I don't want you to think that everything's going to be unicorns and roses. You need to be aware and you need to wake up. Be aware of your surrounding, be aware of what is going on so you can understand how to navigate through that. It can be very upsetting because things have just come up and they have just become strange. We didn't want to look at what was there. We weren't aware of our surroundings. We weren't aware of what was going on. We took a blind eye to the path. Some of us shut our TVs down because we saw so much turmoil, and there's still some turmoil there. I'm not going to gloss over that. However, what I want you to understand is there a way to get your bearings and understand that when you're in balance, male, female, when you're in balance, as above, so below, when you find that beautiful balance, what it is for you, you can see, you can understand. It is part of that is in being aware of your surroundings is what is the theory of that relativity to the witness that you are. You are the witness witnessing, right? But what is your experience? What is your understanding? Sometimes when we witness things, we might be witnessing from a pain. We might be witnessing things from a sadness. And when we do that, when we witness those things from a bad heart space or a negative experience, or maybe we don't have experience in understanding what we see. So you cannot negate that situation is happening or kind of soften it for other people. You need to witness that and understand what space are you in. How are you viewing it? If you see a train go by and you're standing at a certain point on the station and you're right there waiting for the train to come, what you see happening in the car may not be true. Or what you see may be true because of your experience, knowing and understanding, and because you're in the right place to see it. What are you doing with it? How are you acting upon it? Are you just going to close your eyes and walk away from it? You don't need to activate, you don't need to retaliate, but you need to understand what your position in this is. So that means open up to your guides. Listen to your guides. What do they have to say? What is your role in it, or do you have a role? Sometimes things are not in our control. It doesn't mean turn a blind eye. It's right now, it's time for you to open your third eye, to learn to trust, have faith in yourself, and find out what the answer is for you. So the other things that I put up today in my meditation before coming on to the show, what I've been further downloaded with was you also want to look at today, it's that mothering energy. Every day this year, it's been the birthing of the mother energy. But along with that, you have to have the beautiful balance of the male energy, right? You need to have that balance and understand in order for it to be healthy and wealthy, your life, you want to make sure that it's prosperous. But if you do it alone, or if you do it without balance, somewhere you will see a hiccup in that coming forward, or you might only see a certain negativity. So don't lose focus on your true path and the people that can help you rise up on that path as well. Also, always divine protection. Are you protecting yourself? Are you protecting your home, your family? And that's whether it's energy or keeping people safe and understanding your guides are there, right? So on a soulful level, we're looking at our guides. What are our guides telling us? What are we guided on in our path, right? What is the ancestor wisdom telling us? Really look into it. Be aware again of that emotion. And the third thing was also emotions, and we talk about emotions. We'll keep talking about emotions, especially during the holidays. It is a hard time for people. Nonetheless, the year has been a hard time. It's even a harder time. So look on your friends, check on your friends. It doesn't just mean throw up something on Facebook. Hey, if you need help, I'm here. You know what? People who hurt, and I'm talking from experience, people who hurt aren't going to take that message. I need to know that you're truly there. And how do you find that out? If you want to reach out to somebody, you speak to them. Even if you're just texting or writing an email or having some type of conversation, really listen to the words that they are saying. Look into their feelings. We are empathic, we are emotional beings. What comes up for you when you talk to them? What is your friend saying? Uh, what are they pointing to in their conversation? So kind of read between the lines and understand the energy that they have. Is their energy blocked? If their energy is blocked and they don't want to hear right now, you can't push them. You can't push them to open up, and you can't push them to accept help, unfortunately. That may be out of your control. However, if you want them, maybe a friend just needs somebody to call and say hello. Pick up the phone, guys. We have phones, they still work. Pick up the phone and say hello. Listen to their voice, listen to what they're really saying over and above maybe Zoom or Facebook, because it's being recorded and they may be kind of hiding under the radar. So, really, kind of just listen to your family members, see how they're acting, see how they're reacting. Do they not want to get out of the house? Sometimes just take a walk, and some of us are still fortunate to be able to go outside and walk outside. Sometimes just sit one to one and have a conversation. Maybe they need to reminisce about some old fun times or hear some great stories. So look into that too. What is the emotion of everybody coming along? And see that. Just witness what is happening and what your role is. Be strong with that. And with that in mind, I will bring my wonderful guest on today. Hello, Patty. How can I get you on here? Let's see if I can get you back up here and we can get you on the screen. Okay, you're not muted. Awesome.
Yes, I unmuted myself. I knew it was coming.
Beautiful. Thank you.
There we go.
Awesome. I am so glad to have you on today. Thank you for coming in on this wonderful Thursday. Welcome to the show. And why don't you go ahead and tell the guest a little bit about yourself?
Well, Nicole, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I learned a lot from just listening to what you were saying. And, it's all about um, our vibration and where we are at, and understanding and knowing ourselves. So introducing myself, I'm Patricia Jo Grover, the goal achievement strategist. And I had to learn so much about myself. I'll kind of go back a little bit and say, for me to be able to do what I do with people today, I had to go through so much from my life, from my childhood. I say that I had a childhood that most people couldn't conceive, let alone believe. And that affected me well into my adult life, going through 3 marriages and divorces, and actually spending 9 years alone after that to learn to know, like, trust, and ultimately love myself. So everything that I experienced, that is like looking in the rearview mirror.
Wow.
And really now I choose to look out the windshield and looking at my life that way through the wisdom that I gained I now choose to live my life, and I say it PJG style, Patricia Joe Grover. I choose to live my life purposefully, joyfully, and gratefully. And to me, that's the perfect trifecta of where all those three things meet for me. That's bliss. And I sometimes I say, well, is it because of my age and maturity level, or is it just because of the experiences that I've had? So, I've written my book, The Goal Achievement Strategist Guide to Reaching Your Full Potential, living outside the box. And it's all about living outside the box of the limiting beliefs that we put ourselves in or allow other people to put ourselves in, put us in. And that happens. This is part of everyday life. It does happen. And it happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. So with everything that I've taken, from my learning experiences from childhood through to adulthood, I've put it into my book to create it as a tool to be used for people to achieve their dreams and goals, all the way from the aspect. And when I say that, it's from people knowing that they are worthy,
Yeah.
and that they are capable, and that they're not in this alone. So my whole platform, from my one-on-one services that I provide, I have created and I think it's an unparalleled, my program, my peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability. It's a membership program for people who are on their journey to goal achievement, and they don't have those family members or friends around them that understand. And and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, when
Yeah.
we're entrepreneurs and we have our own sense of crazy, okay, and you know
Yeah.
this, sometimes we don't have the family members or friends around us
Right.
to that know and understand that passion that drives us. So and with my peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability program, it creates you we have your own team of personal cheerleaders and accountability partners. So that's one of the things that I offer. And from my experiences, I have over 30 years of business management, with owning businesses and managing businesses. Some were with Fortune 500 companies. and through
Wow.
and through these positions, um, I've learned so much and worked with over 2,500 entrepreneurs. I have trained people to be able to have and create their own businesses and levels of it. And that's success. And when I say this, I want people to realize you have to decide for yourself what your success is and what is successful to you. That's just like wealth. What is wealth to you? Everybody's going to be different on that. But you have to have your own standards for yourself, and your own descriptions and of what success is, what wealth is. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what I do. And what I do is, also I incite action through encouragement and education and empowerment for people to really take a step back and be able to understand what it's going to take for you to walk that extra mile.
Yeah.
And and that's many people are familiar with who Dr. Wayne Dyer is.
Hmm.
And one of the things he says is it's never crowded along that extra mile.
No.
And most of us think that that extra mile is, once a high achiever, but the thing is, the people that are the high achievers are putting in that extra mile, but they're putting it in behind the scenes. It's doing all those preparatory
Yeah.
things ahead of time. And that's where most of us, because it's only what 8% of people in the world are high achievers.
Yeah.
And there's 92% of us, out here scrambling around that aren't quite making it there. So I did a lot of research, and you know what? I wanted to find out what those 8% are doing.
Hmm.
And it has to do with, Nicole, some of the stuff that you were talking about, it has to do with our mindset, our vibration, our energy level, and who we have around us.
Yes. Yes. Well, absolutely. Because, you know, Whether you're talking business or you're talking at a soulful level, it is those 5 people, right? Who's around you? Who do you spend time with? You know, if you're at home and your other half is just negative Nancy all day long, that's what you're hearing in your head. That's your subconscious is going, yeah, this is great. This is awesome. Because why? Because it's familiar, right? And so you get in that familiarity cycle, especially on the holidays. And now, because of the times that, hey, in some sense, we did ask to be home. We wanted to spend more time with our family. Bam, we got it. It may not be what we wanted. So be careful how you ask for it. It doesn't mean put the parameters exactly, but say, you know what? Hey, I'd like some loving time. What can you do now? What do you have control of now? So, are those 5 people good for you? Okay, maybe you can't kick them out because they're paying your rent and you still love them, but you can't force them into change. I have some family members that have always tried to change their other halves. That's ended in 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or more divorces. Oops, maybe that doesn't work. And the other common denominator in that relationship, hey guys, is you. So if you're still dating the same bad person, if you're still having bad relationships, if you're still dating that same guy, he looks good, he smells good, but underneath, he doesn't maybe live in a cleaner house, or maybe he doesn't come home and spend quality time with you. Uh, so if you're dating that same guy, maybe it's time to change the parameters on what you're asking for, what you're looking for. Same in business, same everywhere. Who are the 5 people? Start to change them around. You have to do that. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here talking to you, Patty.
Right,
I wouldn't
exactly.
have done that. I wouldn't have met you because I didn't go out and I didn't listen. If I didn't go out and I didn't listen and say, "Hey, I've got to," I felt so desperate. I started networking, and that in Vegas is hard because you network, you have a few cocktails, and I don't sell real estate, so those conversations get kind of boring. It's not a fun party, you guys. When you're networking at after dark in Vegas, it's not all that fun. People forget the perspective and what they're there for. So let's not forget that. So what do? You go somewhere else. I started changing. I started meditating with different people. I started because the people I was originally meditating for told me I had to stand a certain way or sit a certain way or breathe a certain way or wear a certain thing. And I kind of felt like, well, wait a second. I don't want to become you. I want to be one with you, but I don't want to become you. So I had to change that. Find a greater tribe, a tribe that's loving and gonna love me no matter how I show up. I also had to find different people within business. That changed too. Who was I in business? Did I want to be with people that hustled and then just wanted me to sell myself as a cookie cutter? That makes a difference. Or the biggest thing was either way, whichever tribe I was at, whether it was business or it was reflecting on a soulful level where I was trying to increase my energy, working out, finding greater friends, uh, were people taking my clients? Were people sabotaging me and telling me awful things, telling me I wasn't worth anything, but yet my clients were telling me I was great? So I sabotaged myself in that fact that I needed to be aware of my surroundings, be aware of who I was talking to, be aware of what was I reflecting. I'm reflecting, and you reflect your friends. What energy level are you at? Are you in that good mode? Are you really focused? Are you really driven? Are you focusing on the correct things? And that's the other thing that people need to look at is always come back after 30 days. This is what I've started to do is really refocusing mentally, emotionally, and business wise. Is my business going in the right place? Is my mind right? Am I analyzing and over analytical about this? Or am I really in my creation mode? So it's really that change. But you have to understand that part of it is you and part of it is where you're at. So maybe you need to change that. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it all the time. It's still the insanity of doing the same thing. If you want to change, start changing maybe even the time you meditate, the music you meditate to. It can be as simple as that. It's the same in business. Who are you talking to? If you're not moving, if you're plateauing, maybe it's those networking people you're talking to, because they haven't changed, but the times have changed. So it's definitely time to change and embrace some of this. What can you filter it out? Don't take it all. You've got to start to filter it out. You've got to be the adult. And part of that change is also feeling into where you're at. You've got to take some initiation. Don't get in that victim cycle, and don't rescue everybody. You've really got to move forward. When Patty, where did you realize that, hey, this was you? This is where you needed to allow yourself to move forward and really start to change in your own life and create a different path for yourself?
That was actually, Nicole, that was after my third divorce. When I took that time again to not only learn to know myself, like myself and love myself, and actually again trusting myself, and because you go through that much and you start questioning, you know your choices and decisions. So it was all realigning and revisiting what I had experienced, and taking anything that anyone has had, whether it be business or personal, when you have had failures or things that didn't turn out the way that you had wanted them to, don't let any of that negative stuff that you found hold you back. What you do is you
Right.
break it down and learn from it, and use that to fuel you, to move you forward. And that's what I did in that 9 years time period. Is I really did a deep dive and saying, okay, what happened, what did I want to happen, and really notice the difference of what it was and the steps that I had to be able to take and to be able to move forward. And that's the thing, is really, really breaking things down. And then it's not so overwhelming
Yeah.
when it's right in front of you. I think so many people get overwhelmed. What is it? The paralysis and analysis, but also just, that whole great big fear. and
Yeah.
and everyone has fears.
Yeah.
If somebody tells you they don't have fears, they're full of baloney. I use nice words there.
It's the
um
truth. It's the truth.
and we're only human. We are
Yes.
only human. And there are fears, and it can be things that you don't even know, because I've learned most recently that our brains are powerful things that we don't completely understand.
Yeah.
And what we have all good intentions of being able to do, or giving that effort to, sometimes our brain sneaks in and they play little tricks. It plays tricks
Yeah.
on us. So just don't give up. Don't, just try to stay on your path. And what I teach people is that we should have plan. It's all about planning and organization, and have your planning days built into your schedule to help you keep track, because
Right.
it helps you keep you, and mine every day is Sunday, and if check your measurables on those days, because if you're getting too far off track, it makes it difficult, and you use too much energy to get yourself back.
Yeah.
And so if you check in at least once a week with where you are wanting to go, and how you're coming along on that progress, it
Oh,
will
yeah.
be so helpful. And that's and Nicole, I teach people to budget, and not just budget. And when people think of budgets, they think of budgeting money, but it's
Mm,
not. It's budgeting your time and your energy.
that's huge. That's huge
And
because you forget to self-love.
right, exactly. And so that's all part of the planning and calendaring, is putting yourself first. And that's I know it seems strange, but I teach people how to put themselves first. And that is your physical, not just your health, your physical health, but your spiritual health,
Yeah.
your mental health, and your financial health. And really, when you're putting stuff into your calendar, it's putting those pieces in first, your things that you need to help you keep balanced emotionally, physically, so if it's a spa day, if it's getting, if it's going to get your nails done or whatever it is that helps you, put those things in first. And most of us don't do that.
Well, and that's so huge, because if you don't fill your cup, you can't fill everybody else's cup.
Exactly.
If you don't love yourself, how can you demand your partner love you? If you don't love yourself, how can you demand that your life change or the people around you change? And
Right.
as you start to love yourself, your DNA changes. You change at a cellular level, and everything around you changes. Honestly,
Yes.
you have to change. They'll either, and you know what, you guys, this might be hard for some people, but I'm not here to sugarcoat it for you. The truth is that maybe you need to let them go. Maybe you need to let that fall to the wayside so you can create a better space for better people. And so you could become the better person that you are. You can create the life of your dreams. You can't do that if you're allowing it's trash in, trash out. If that's the way it is, you have to understand what your circumstances are and move forward. It was huge for me to understand when you say that self-care, self-love, self-worth, and reward yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have reached that end goal. And are your goals large enough so you can
Right.
reach little goals between it? Give yourself a gold start. Give yourself a pat on the back. I'm going to tell you, my arm hurts sometimes. I got to be like, hey, I'm the only one acknowledging
Yep.
me. So here I am today.
Okay. And Nicole, too, put your celebration budget into your calendar. So,
Yeah.
you know, set aside, okay, I'm going to have this much money that I am going to use to treat myself, and say, okay, I'm going to treat myself when I achieve this goal or this milestone on this day. This is how I do it. And then you always have those things to look forward to.
Yes.
When we all struggle, and everybody does sometimes, going through the process on their journey, it just helps give you that much more of the incentive to get there and do that. That last one late night you got to work in the office.
Yeah.
It's just to give you that push is, and
Yeah.
it's easier when you have those little treats built into your calendar
Yeah,
and your
because if
budget.
you're determined and you're a driver, it's okay. You guys, it's okay to be determined. It's okay to drive at home. It's okay to be that perfectionist. It's okay to be the overachiever. It is okay as long as you have some balance in your life. We're all meant to be different. If we were all meant to be the same, we'd be a cookie cutter and be really, really boring.
Exactly.
So definitely, just drive at home, put it in there. I love that budget. You know,
Yeah.
what are personally on that, when you started to change and you started to see that, how did you feel? What was the release? It feel like there was a big heavy weight that just lifted
Oh,
off of you?
oh yes. I just realized how long I had been spinning my wheels and feeling stuck. And I guess you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it when you're there and you need to know it. You don't, that, does that sound familiar to anyone? Um,
Huge.
right. So as much as I thought I knew who I was and what I wanted, until I reached that time and really did my breakdowns and everything of breaking all those things down, um, I did not understand that. And I will be honest with you, Nicole, it wasn't until I wrote my first book 2 years ago, and my second edition of the book is coming out soon. But it wasn't until I met this woman, and she helps people write their stories if they've been through domestic violence situations and so on and so forth, helping get their emotions and stories down so that they can make some healing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had gotten with her, and I wrote out my whole life story. and this has nothing to do with my actual book, but what I will tell you is that once you get it out and get it on paper, then you can have those little aha moments that I hadn't broken everything down as far as that when I was doing my 9 years time that I was working on myself. But putting that all out on paper, that had me be able to totally understand my purpose in life
Mm.
and
Mhm.
connect back to why, when I was a child. Can I share just a little story with you?
Yeah, please do. I love to hear people's stories, how you got there.
Well, when I said I come from a background of domestic abuse and violence, my my father was an alcoholic and abusive, and just he wouldn't let my mother. She had to look the frumpiest. She had to wear her hair in rollers and pin curls all day, every day, and run around, with her socks wouldn't stay up, and that way. He would come home from work and he would take us to the store so my mother could buy him beer and cigarettes.
Mm.
He would park the car outside the store window so he could look in and see. She wasn't allowed to pick up her head and talk to anybody while she was in there, not even at the checkout counter. So he'd
Wow.
watch her go to the beer cooler to get her beer and come back. And if she lifted her head up, we knew it was not going to be a nice night at home. I knew that. And I was 3 years old.
Wow.
Okay. So while my father was at work on his daily for his job, my mother, I would help her take the rollers and pin curls out of her hair, and I would make her look pretty. And I was so happy that I could do this for my mother, and I wanted her to feel beautiful. I wanted her to feel good about herself. And the thing is, um I didn't understand when she would start crying,
Mm.
because she wasn't allowed to, and I didn't, of course, I didn't understand why she was crying. Oh, mommy, you look so beautiful, and
Right.
and so she couldn't allow herself to look beautiful or even think that she looked beautiful, because it was just that much control that he had over her that way.
Mm.
And so I would have to help her put the hair back in rollers and pin curls before he came home from work.
Wow.
um
Wow.
and there was more. I mean, he just the last thing with when before we left that situation, at 3 years old, he had my mother strangled on
Mm.
the couch unconscious and sent me to the kitchen drawer at the
Mm.
age of 3 to get the knife to cut her throat. My older sister was there and was calling the police while my brother was grabbing his legs and trying to keep him from getting over to the kitchen drawer, because I went and stood in front of the drawer so he couldn't get the knife.
Oh my God.
And so and there's so much more story, but what I
Right.
wanted to tie this back to, with how I know my purpose, and I have no ands, ifs, or buts about it now,
Mm-hmm.
is that when I wrote all that stuff, and again, all the years of stuff, and how that stuff affected my relationships and trying to have marriages,
Mm.
through everything, um, I I realized that I do what I do now because the connection that it had to me wanting to help my mother
Yeah.
feel better about herself, and to know that she was worth more, that she
Oh,
was
wow.
worthy, that she was capable of having more, being more, and doing more, and she could want more. And that connection again, so that's why that's why I do what I do, is
Yeah.
because I know that's my purpose. I don't have any more question about it. If I had never had that um, opportunity to write that down, I don't think that I would have this um, strong of a connection to my purpose and
Yeah.
my why.
Yeah. It's bless you for sharing that. Thank you so much. It's so important for people to understand. Uh, you know, we all come from different places.
Right.
And those of us who have experienced it at home, uh, the turmoil and how it has affected us in life. We carry it, and it's so important to understand that whether that's that inner child or you're digging deep into that crux of the shadow of you, and understanding why we react the way we do. Why, sometimes it's anger. And I held that for so long. I wore it like a suit of armor. I just carried it around. And I tell people I went through a divorce to get away from that, of myself, to let it go. It just felt like I was letting a part of me go. I didn't want to live in that anymore. Why was I always angry? Why was I always upset? Why was I always sad? Because I felt, as a child of an abusive family, and seeing some other things go on, that I deserved it. I earned it. And it
Right.
doesn't help, it helps to come out and bring it out, and to understand who you are, to understand your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? Who are you? How are you moving forward? And that's your game plan. And I teach that in the game plan for my coaching sessions. It's identify that.
Mm-hmm.
Identify it. Don't relive it. Don't hold on to it. Understand it's part of you. And forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself. It doesn't mean forgetting, because you want to be able to, sometimes we need to keep a little bit of that in our file folder, not reapproach that anger, but
Right.
understand, especially when we're helping clients, understand passionately how to bring those clients past that pain, past those painful partners, into their passion, their purpose, and their beauty. And once you understand that, your focus is totally different, is
Yes.
it not?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And Nicole, I'm on speaking on the same summit that you are starting tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So, and it is. So I strongly believe that we are brought together with certain people for reasons. And sometimes we don't know what they are until, it comes into light for us. And that really is. And to me, it's all about coming from a place of service. I I do what I do because I love to make that positive difference. If sharing what I share and trying to make something that seems so big and scary, to be able to break it down for people, to have it not be so overwhelming,
Yeah.
and to try to make it as simple as possible. And that's what confuses people, Nicole, is that
Yeah.
some things, the simpler you can make them, people don't understand that it
Mm.
doesn't have to be all that big and scary.
It doesn't. It
Right.
doesn't. And understanding that at certain points, when you simplify things, you have a better understanding. You have the ability to kind of wrap your mind around it and see, oh, it is that simple. We
Right.
are meant to love. We are meant to allow the release. We are meant to cut those cords. We are meant to have a beautiful life.
And live joyfully.
And live,
And we are.
absolutely, and be prosperous. And it's a beautiful thing. I did put the link, you guys, down in the show on YouTube. It's all here, and I will put more of that up again so you can see that, because what a blessing to be part of this. And nothing is coincidence to me. It's just so synchronistic to be able to be part of this and to connect with you again on this, and to have you share that story. It's to recognize, and not to be the activist, you guys. I don't have to go banging all the doors to tell people, hey, don't beat up on your other half, or don't allow your partner to do that. I don't. What I need to let you know, I mean, if people want the stories, I tell them, but what I for me, my passion and my momentum is to be able to allow people to share their stories, uh, like we did today, to allow people to heal, to allow people to guide them on their path and understand it is part of you. But we are passionate people. We're meant to have feelings, and we're meant to share, and we're meant to be joyful or angry for a moment, but move past that. And that's a beautiful thing. We are coming to our end. It's been a beautiful conversation with you today. just allowing it to go the way that it needs to go for the growth and for people to gain the knowledge and understanding today. Where can people find you?
You can go right to patriciajogrover.com. That's my website, the information there. And Nicole, I have gifts. Can I give people gifts?
Please,
All right.
absolutely.
Yeah. So we're looking at now finishing up 2020 and leaving that in the rearview mirror and looking forward into 2021. So I have the seven steps to goal achievement. If people text the word goal, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, I have their 3 assignments, because I'm all about and it's the assignments are worksheets basically for you to go through, and that will help me. So those, when they come back to me, I will give a free one-on-one consultation with someone to help them put together their foundation so that they can go move forward and be able to achieve their dreams and goals in 2021. There's other things there. There's over $600 worth of value in
Wow.
the stuff that I'm giving, but not everybody's going to be ready for all of it right at one time. So
Right.
just using those little pieces. But first, and I have a $5 off coupon for my book that's coming up. But don't worry about ordering the book, pre-ordering the book right now. Worry about doing those assignments and getting them back to me. And I want to be able to help make as most positive impact on people's lives to help them get from where they are to where they want to be.
Yeah.
And that's what it all begins with, and that's sometimes that's the hardest. It can be emotionally difficult for people to really determine and where they are starting from, because to get from point A to point B, it's like, Nicole, if I were to say, hey, I want to come over to your house, you got to be able to tell me where you are. And if somebody doesn't know where you are, you can't get from one place to the other. And that's sometimes really where people have the hardest time.
It is. It is. It is finding where you're at in life, because we can't always Google our
Right.
GPS, right? Of our
Right.
head. We need a
Exactly.
map. Thank you so much for
Yes.
being here, and bless you. And you guys, tomorrow on the 11th, the Breakthrough and Thrive Summit, the information is below. Please, it's just get in there, watch it, and enjoy, participate with us. And we are glad to have you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.